Welcome to the good, the bad, and the sequel with your hosts, Doug and Jamie.
From the coconut, you take the milk from the coconut.
This is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels and we do it in two parts. The first, an interview with an actor, someone involved that made the film worth watching. And the second, a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. Really hope you enjoyed the interview we did a few weeks back. We did things a little bit backwards because we wanted to wait until this week's sequel, Grizzly 2 Revenge, was out for everyone to see. We were lucky enough to see it before it came out, which is so amazing. And talking to the producer, Suzanne Nagy, who kept this movie alive. 1983, they start filming. 38 years later, it is out. And I cannot wait to discuss this because this is like a huge thing for us, you know, seeing a movie before it comes out and a movie that has Clooney, Dern, Sheen for a little bit. But before we start talking about it, I got to introduce you to my partner in the sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how you doing?
Doug, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm very good.
Oh, very
good.
You know, we've covered a lot of movies. There's a few movies that like I've never seen anything like it, and I have to put this movie in that category that I've never seen a movie like this. And I mean, for obvious reasons, but it was definitely a fun, interesting watch this time.
It was, when you really think about like you watch a movie and you're like, okay, like if I just put this on, didn't read anything about it, didn't know anything about it, I might feel differently. But
Correct.
Then knowing all the inner workings of went on, it's a little bit different. So before we introduce a five-timer, Chris Egan, who's waiting in the wings. If you could see him, then you see him. But if you can't hear him, you'll hear him in a second. But Jamie, what are the other sequels that you put in this? Are you talking Terror Toons 3?
I would say Terror Toons, even Jack Frost. You know, it's such a bizarre movie. You know, this is. I think you're right. I think if I saw this without knowing the history of the movie, but knowing the history of the movie, this movie makes it 10 times better. Just totally. Like it changes the way I watch this movie.
So I think you just quoted Roger Ebert when he reviewed Jack Frost 2. You said weirdly, right?
I don't know if I said weirdly.
I think you said weirdly.
I said it's a weird movie.
Oh, okay.
I mean, talking ice cubes kind of is weird, but
yeah. But so I mentioned before, 5-time guest. Man, it's so hard in the beginning. It's so easy to remember some of these guests, all the movies they were in. So, Jamie, if you help me, obviously we got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
Correct.
The Fly 2.
Amityville Horror 2.
Amityville Horror 2.
What the hell else did I come on for?
Whoa.
I'm drawing a blank too.
They must have been great movies.
Well, that's fine.
We'll get back to it.
Yeah, we'll get back to it. But he's here we know he's doing Grizzly 2 Revenge. And that's Chris Egan. How you doing, Chris?
I'm great. I'm ready to talk about this.
And I can promise he won't forget this one.
I won't. No.
I can't believe we can't think of it. I know we haven't given him any of the big like horror franchises, so it's not one of those. It's been all horror. Wowzers. That's,
you know what? When you get a chance, send us the shirt back.
My brain only holds so much.
So what's really cool about this movie, I just mentioned, obviously it took 37 years, but the first movie was such a big success independent wise. Right after Jaws came out, they were like, what can we do? Let's put Jaws on land. And they're like, oh, sharks die on land. So let's use a grizzly bear. And the movie crushed. It was the highest grossing independent film until John Carpenter came along with Halloween. And that's something to say. And then it's crazy. I believe that first movie, I don't know if you guys have the numbers, but I feel like it's $250,000 was the first movie's budget.
Wow. Back then. That's
this movie. Do you know the budget of this movie?
I'm assuming not enough because they had
$7.5 million.
Wow.
You can really
we'll get into all that. Obviously, you have the Rolling Stone stage Which
I'll say it definitely must be actually the stages for Nazareth.
Oh, okay.
From what I heard, it was a Nazareth concert, and the people there didn't know that there were fake bands going on stage. So we'll get there, but when you watch some of the concert, you'll see like a lot of people like just standing there, like what's going on.
That's amazing. So let's just like dive right in. So
all right, I got a quick question before we dive, because I don't know anything about the first movie. Do they explain why the grizzly bear is like as big as King Kong?
No.
Nuclear power plant, not too far away. No, I don't know. I guess it's kind of like Jaws, like a freakishly large.
Well, no, Jaws is normal size. I mean, larger than a shark. I mean, it's a shark size. I mean, I'm sure the sharks out there like that. This bear was pretty massive.
If it was a regular size shark, Quint would have been ready. He would have got a bigger boat.
The shark in Jaws is supposed to be slightly abnormal. The bear in Grizzly 1 is slightly abnormal. It's supposed to be just a really big bear. This one is.
Well, you don't see it until the end. You don't see this like how big the bear is until the end, and it's pretty massive.
I've got notes about the forklift scene.
Oh, nice. Okay. So the movie starts off. It's a lot of Canada geese, lots of nature, giving you the vibe of the movie, and you at least find out right away, like why. You know, because Suzanne told me like the original cut of the movie that they had from a few years back was just it was just getting right into it. So it's basically like the movie was called Grizzly 2 the concert. There was just no purpose to the story. It was just like this bear is killing. So that's why they added in that scene at the beginning, which you can kind of tell that footage is like very recent. Just there's a few footages in this movie that
how clear the nature looks, you mean?
Yes. And
like you're watching a nature documentary is that's how clear it was.
It's like Nat Geo B-roll.
Now, do you guys pick up on, again, this is like stock footage. I'm sure maybe they filmed some of it, but a lot of it was stock. And did you notice that randomly they see the nature and then you see that road? Do you guys notice that guy on the motorcycle?
Yes. Yeah, I wrote that down too.
He was surfing on his motorcycle.
Yeah.
It was so random. And I'm like, wait, couldn't they have gotten like another piece of footage where there was like no? And it wasn't even like, now if that guy shot the bear, that'd have been impressive. If he was like a, like kind of
I
like
thought that's what they were going for. He was the hunter.
Yeah.
He's just so jazzed to be shooting bears. He's surfing his motorcycle down the road.
Well, a lot of people seemed very jazzed to be shooting bears. Like there's definitely a big bear hunt on this.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I would never shoot a bear, but I'd like to just pretend to, because those guys were having a ball.
What, the 4 guys playing grab ass in the middle of the woods? You talking about those guys?
Yes, and yeah, that whole scene was
there was an ass pinch at a point.
There was.
Yeah. It reminded me of like those guys are like look like they could have been extras in Deliverance.
Oh, totally. So the opening scene, we see like the 2 baby bears playing, the mama bear looking, and then we just see the hunter who, he looks like he's from like last 5 years, and he shoots the baby bear. And again, it's digital, but it looks so real. And then the mama gets shot, and then you're like, it's on.
Did you notice? I felt like the grizzly kind of looked like Ace Ventura when I think when Ace Ventura like moves his mouth like when he does like oh, and the bear did the exact same motion that Ace Ventura does.
That's called peanut butter in the mouth. They put some peanut butter in the mouth. You notice all the bears, even the bear that Jackie Moon wrestles in the Will Ferrell basketball movie. Same thing. The bear is like doing that the whole time. So maybe that's what they got to do. Maybe they used to do that to Jim Carrey on set. Put a little peanut butter in his mouth.
It's called method acting.
Method acting. But yeah, so then we see the title screen again, a little something. I don't know, not it didn't really tickle my fancy, but then we see George Clooney.
Well, they have, let me ask you this question. If you're like a George Clooney fan at the time or Charlie Sheen and
nobody was
you go to this movie
at the time. They weren't even this like their earliest movies.
Okay, but the movie's coming out now.
Oh yeah.
So there's a movie that came out now. So they have top billing. The first three names you see is George Clooney, Laura Dern, and Charlie Sheen. Would you be pissed if you the other actors?
No. Well, if I was
No?
John
At this
Rhys Davis, yeah.
But I mean,
At this point, they probably get it.
but you like it's very it's funny. Like I didn't know anything about this movie. I didn't know what was going to happen. But like, 5 minutes maybe. Like how long are they in the movie for?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, about 5 minutes, yeah.
I wonder, do you think, honestly, did they watch it already? I bet you Charlie Sheen did, because he did get back to Suzanne. He was excited. But I really, why not?
I also like Charlie Sheen seemed the same age as George Clooney. I thought George Clooney was older. I guess they're the same, like around the same age.
Yeah.
I want to know why they're going camping. Again, we see this a few times, but you have a couple who just can't keep their hands off each other, and then you have the third wheel that's there. Isn't that kind of awkward?
I feel. I mean, that's like a trope with most slashers or horror movies, where there's always a group of friends, whether it's 3 of them, 5 of them. It's always an odd number where there's like there's a few couples, and there's just an odd man out or odd girl out.
Yeah, but I think it's different when there's like, a group of people, because maybe not everybody's hooking up at the same time. Here, it's like, all right, they hook up once. I mean, you're the only one. Like, you can't go off to talk to somebody else. Like, you're totally an odd wheel.
Were they there just for camping, or were they there to see the concert too?
I'm thinking the concert, and I'm thinking that they knew even at this point that it was going to be hard to secure like music rights, because the song that George Clooney's singing, he's just saying doom doom cha, doom cha, doom doom cha, doom cha.
He's
I'm
bopping
like,
along.
they couldn't have something.
He was dancing up the mountain.
And they're doing Jimmy did that because Laura Dern, when he's like trying to get frisky with her, he's like, hey, you wanted to last night. She's like, yeah, but I didn't go 20 miles. Could you have to walk 20 miles that way? Like, doom cha, just flip it, and then he would stop, pop, eject, flip it, and then doom cha. That'd be amazing. I would love every part of that. But it was kind of weird because Charlie Sheen's character kind of seemed like he was into Laura Dern. It was almost like he was friends with Laura Dern and George Clooney was the boyfriend. Like, he knew George Clooney, but he was just there to, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. It was
Dude, you make up a whole backstory?
Yes, I am, because they were in there for 5 minutes. They deserve it.
In that 5 minutes, you really feel that Laura Dern and Charlie Sheen. I do want to say that. Well, I don't know how far we're going along here, but towards the end of Charlie's tenure within the film, he really nails his death scene. You get a taste of the Charlie Sheen to come.
Yes. What do you mean, getting drug and grabbing a heel?
No. I meant solid actor Charlie Sheen before he really went crazy.
Oh, okay.
He definitely looked like Emilio in his. I saw like Emilio Estevez.
It was a very different Charlie Sheen.
Very.
Yeah, and it was cool.
Floppy hair.
Yeah. Now you just wish that they had the second unit. Egan, look at this guy flipping it. But no. So if they did have the second unit, and if they didn't have all the issues with the bear, the same guy that worked on the Shark and Jaws, maybe it could have been different. You could have saw it, but it was really just, again, the peeper. The bear is like the Shark and Jaws too, just watching.
The bear is like Michael Myers, and because first of all, he breathes like Michael Myers. I mean, he's constant, and he's waiting and peeping. I'm not sure bears do that. I mean, I think if they're in the area and they see people, they're going to attack right away. This bear is like waiting for his opportunity to come out. The right time.
He was just taking in the show, the Laura Dern show. There was a little something going on, and then she just gets in there with Clooney, and yeah, you didn't really see anything. It was just a lot of, again, because they couldn't have the other bear, so all you saw was like a quick cut. I did like Charlie Sheen when he came out. He was gone for how long? 2 minutes, and he was just like, "Yeah, it's not working," because he wanted to catch them or maybe watch. And then he says, "A squirrel was bugging me, so and then that's it. And then he just walks back, and then he sees the bear, and then he gets drug off, and then that's it. That's all for them.
For a big bear, he moves pretty fast too.
Well, Jason moves. Michael Myers moves fast.
That's it. He might be like one of the original, serial killers.
Walks slow at first and then does a quick shuffle and catches up and murders.
The breathing gets me. I mean, it sounds like Darth Vader, and he sounds like he has an asthma problem. That's all you hear the whole time.
I mean, they're gone in 5 minutes, but their casting had to have been like the director had to have been planning like, oh, I have these 3 up and coming actors that they're all Hollywood royalty descendants, all 3 of them. So it had to have been a plan just to get butts and seats even back then. Like now it's a marketing ploy to get people to see this cut together movie. But I feel like even in 1983, it had to have been in the director's plan. Like, okay, we got a Dern, we got a Sheen, we got a Clooney.
But would they have killed him off that fast?
Well, they weren't anybody yet,
Yeah, no, I know.
Well, they killed Drew Barrymore quickly in Scream.
That was
to shock you, Jamie.
That's a shock death because they marketed her as like the final girl. Sort of.
So then now we get to meet the park strangers. These guys are something. So we meet Nick Hollister, and
Great name.
Yeah, there's some good names in this.
But, when they were driving with the green screen in the background, that was amazing. That was awesome.
But I love how like he's new. Again, there's a lot of similarities which we'll touch throughout this whole thing between this and Jaws. This one, he's obviously Brody because he was talking about his second in command, Pete. He says to him, "Yeah, they're scared of you," and he's like, "Oh yeah, good. They should be." And then the guy talks about how because he was worried about the concert, and then the guy says, "Yeah, but you handle it. The Statue of Liberty used to get 1 million visitors." And then he goes, "Yeah, but most at 20,000 at a time." And he called it the Liberty. Is that what people call it?
I don't think so.
No.
What do you want to do today? You want to go to Liberty? I was just like, oh, and then I was like, holy crap, Brody worked in Manhattan. So look at that. Lots of similarities. So even from like right now, like early in the movie, I'm just like, okay, so we got this. And then next, we have an Oscar winner in the next scene. And it's Louise Fletcher, who was Nurse Ratched in One Flew. How did she? It's amazing. Whoever the casting director was unreal.
She looks like, I all I saw was Nurse Ratched. Every scene she was in, she was Nurse Ratched. I couldn't get past it.
I think you're going to say you saw Mare Vaughn. Same role.
It looks basically the same in everything she's in.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. I think she had the old school hairstyle, she looked like Nurse Ratched. She also had an attitude, throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, if you're casting Louise Fletcher, you're going to have a tude. That's what you're casting for.
Right.
Now, what was her job? So she was superintendent of the parks. What was her power? She said later in the movie that she misses Washington. Do you think she was like a senator or something, or her husband was? Because she's so power hungry. Even in the next scene, she's on the phone with the senator and she goes, "Yeah, Saturday you have to attend my rock concert." So what is she, a superintendent? And she's like,
yeah, I couldn't figure out her like significant. I couldn't understand.
I figured that she was just like a government. Like she oversaw like the park. Like she's just like a bureaucrat. Yeah,
but was it a money thing? Like what was her? Obviously she wanted to impress the senator, so that was like her main goal. She was bringing big people there. So like, what was her end goal? That's.
I think it was like it's not explained very well, but
explain it, baby. Give it to us.
It's some blend of, we've got the park, we use it for, camping and all the national park stuff. But now Now we can throw a giant concert. We can get extra revenue coming in. We got the tax money coming in over here. And now we have extra money coming in for concerts and different events. And she wants everything to go off without a hitch and be perfect and show that this extra money, there's this other avenue of cash coming in.
No, it sounds good.
Sounds good. But you know what though? I almost want to lean towards Doug, where she was the government, because she's trying to almost like get back into a governmental role, you know, by bringing a senator here and like, you know, like I feel like she's trying to get her job back or something.
Ooh, I got it. Maybe
a shamed senator.
Ooh, no, I was gonna say maybe he's running for president, and she wants to be like in charge of the national parks. See, that's something. Give us something. And here's one thing that now reading the note that I wrote, I'm like, wait, that doesn't make sense. So she says, you have to come to my concert on Saturday. This movie takes place in one day, right? When is there any break that shows?
Well,
like,
it's hard to tell because there's a scene with the four hunters that play grab ass. When they're talking to each other, it looked like there was sun on one side and it was dark on the other side.
Yep.
So it's hard to tell.
The one guy, it's like 3 PM. The other guy's it's dusk.
So I don't know. It might have been 2 days.
yeah, I'm sorry they wouldn't do like one little, unless again, some of the footage definitely something happened to it. So I just wonder if they had that cut, because I'm like, wait, Saturday, that's the whole day. Like, because I feel like right from here is when we meet Samantha Owens, head of bear management. That's a job. I guess it is, but and it's Deborah Raffin, who previous sequel, Death Wish 3, she hooked up with Bronson.
Well,
I think she's pretty great in this.
Oh,
let me ask you. So she's head of bear management. What happens if there's no more bears in the woods, in the park? She doesn't have a job anymore?
She'll have to find bears to bring in. She'll just pretend. Maybe she'll walk around like the people that do for like Sasquatch. She'll get like the shoes. Like, oh, I spotted one over there. I gotta stay. You gotta pay me. I don't know. But how about the people that are in the car? Again, there's so many scenes in this movie that I know there has to be. Maybe not this one. Later, there's one that's definitely missing footage or something. But the British reporter is like flirting with her. She's like, yes, I do like my job. And then there's like a girl that was an extra that they probably found in Hungary. She's like, what do you mean we're in danger? She had like this weird accent in the back seat. And I'm like, what happened? And then hard cut. There's a lot of cuts in this movie. Well, I get it. It makes sense because it does make the movie. One thing I do like about cuts like that, it makes the movie feel quicker because you think it's a longer scene. So this movie, even though it is only 68 minutes, it feels shorter because you're watching something and it goes to something else and it goes a little bit faster because of that. So I get it.
Now, I said before I watched this twice, the second time being earlier today. The first night I watched it, when it ended, I was like, wait, it's over? I was like, oh man, I'm definitely gonna watch this again. I've got all the time in the world for this one.
No, watch it twice.
Yeah, this is definitely a movie that I like. Just the splicing and just the scene. It really is amazing how they made a movie out of it. To be honest with you, and again, that goes along of the movie because it just you could see everything where it went and it fits, but it's like, all right, we got to do something with what they have, and it's amazing. They did a great job.
I mean, like
really did.
We can joke all day long about it,
correct?
But they really busted their asses.
No, they made a movie out of like really nothing. They had bits pieces here and there, and they were able to figure it out. I mean, that's just give them kudos. But
yeah, I will say this too. I wanted to bring this up before with like the opening shots, the nature shots that are dropped in throughout. Being that that's the first thing we saw, I was like, ooh, this is going to be rough. Going from like crisp digital filming to whatever was going to come. And I have to say, for the most part, aside from a few things here and there, some weird like night and day shot, back and forth shots going on, the restoration's pretty damn good for a movie that's been in film canisters for like 35 years.
Yeah, it was like a company out of London. She brought it to London in like, I think like 2017, 2018. So the way this worked was so fast because she had to take over her husband's gallery in 92 in Manhattan when he passed away. And then it was always in the back of her mind because it was such a big thing for her to, a woman that left socialist Hungary and then ends up coming back to represent a film company to be like the Hungarian representative for the film. And then all these years later, she just said, like, I got to get back into it. But yeah, no, that's what I said. I was like, I love that it feels like an older film, but it looks good. I don't know. Yeah. It's great.
Well, again, I wonder if you don't know the story, like, would people like just think twice about it? I mean, I know some of it's obvious, and again, because we know, but I mean, would they just think it's just like a B movie? Just, like, I wonder if people would really understand like all that was, involved.
When you say B movie, do you mean Bouchard? Which we're not up to him yet, but that's an A acting job.
Paul Bunyan. He's Paul Bunyan in this movie, without a doubt.
He's Paul Bunyan mixed with like a weird French Canadian. Mixed with
The Rock. He's The Rock before The Rock.
He lifted a tree up. Okay.
Over a car, taller than he is. The way he lifted that, it was just like the tree was lifting so high.
Amazing.
There's some odd racial stuff going on with his performance.
A little bit.
Which they kind of address in the movie. Those other hunters, the grab ass hunters.
So we'll get to that when we get like a whole good exposition.
Yeah, we haven't even met the grab assers yet.
No, we haven't. They're coming up soon. But we meet the next part. We meet one of the grab assers that we never saw him grab an ass, but we just see this hobo guy again. These guys are, again, if there's a bear, even if there isn't this ginormous bear, there's just a little bear, a medium bear. I wouldn't get drunk with other people firing guns or I don't know. But when we just see a hobo guy, which I thought he was just a homeless guy, honestly. And then he just like goes to like piss. And then you see this big bear arm come out and throw him into a bush. And then the scene's over. So
the arm looked like it looked like Chewbacca. When you see the arm go across the screen, it was like ridiculous. But there seem to be a lot of people in the woods. Like now, they know that there were people murdered there. George Clooney, all of them. Don't they have any like danger tape or anything like blocking off the woods at all?
Well, they have all the signs that. Remember, Samantha said
the signs are small. Yeah, the signs are kind of small, and if you're not paying attention, you can go right by it. But I mean, like, don't you have caution tape or anything or something?
It's not on the budget. That is why Elaine Dragon is trying to impress the senator to get a little more money next year.
Yeah, I forgot how expensive caution tape is.
But I did like the guy. Did you recognize this guy? The guy that was playing Charlie, the guy that was running the concert, Dick Anthony Williams. He's in a ton of stuff. He was in The Jerk, yeah. Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, he's like a long running character actor.
Yeah. I saw his credits. I'm like, I must have seen him. And then we get then we meet the daughter. So the daughter was in Valley Girl. She's in a few other movies, but I love how we meet her. It's because Charlie fires a girl. He's like, man, she's late for the last time.
Wait, so why was she hanging around there?
I don't know. Was she just a
right. She was just
there for the concert.
Right. Okay. But you were just hanging around doing nothing. And he's like, oh, you want to work? Like, doesn't know what her capabilities, what her abilities are. Just hey,
he just needs to answer some phones. That's all.
Oh, and then she says, I know both dial and push button.
Well, he goes, he said something like, do you know anything about phones? Or right. Something like that.
You're hired, kid.
Now, somebody's seeing this now. They'll be like, people didn't know how to use a phone back then? Well, there was two ways. There was the and then
dial,
fancy. But how about the size of it? I wrote
Leah Thompson / Ali Sheedy vibes from her.
Oh yeah. She's totally. And then
essential 80s girl coming through.
And then she went from this, again, another great casting. I know she was only in a few things and then she started to stop acting in like the 90s. But again, Valley Girl, memorable role in that. But how about Charlie, the size of the radio? That thing was monstrous and it was attached to him. So would she now get that? I guess that's hers. But we didn't see her use it for the rest of the movie. It should have came down to that.
She didn't work the rest of the movie. They didn't show her on the phones.
She's too busy dancing and flirting and sitting on boxes.
That would have been a great scene. Perfect scene. We can add it at 2 minutes to the movie. She has to like call her dad or something on his phone. And Charlie's like maybe like under something stuck. He's like, call him. And she's like, I lied. I don't know how to use the phone. And then
You put me on the spot.
Pretty soon. Now we're gonna meet all the grab ass boys. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, sure. That sounds good.
I like it.
It's just some grab ass boys.
Ain't doing no harm, just sitting in the woods.
It took me a couple of minutes to figure out, Charlie's dad, Grandpa over there, Grandpa, Wonka, whatever his name is,
Grandpa Joe.
Grandpa Joe. I'm like, is he like? For some reason, I thought he was in Beverly Hills Cop. I'm like, I can't think, and then the First Blood came right in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, that guy. Yeah. And he seems to play the same role, like a real jerk.
He plays it well.
He does.
A bear minded its business, Rambo minded its business. Just like, hey, let's just piss it off, God. So then the next poacher, again, all these guys have that vibe of, I don't know, like wrestlers. They're all, I don't know, the guy that we see next that has that pretty cool motorcycle, when he's snooping around, he finds a hat in the bush, he sees the bear, and then he runs. But the first thing he does, he drops his freaking gun. Maybe because he's drunk. Why would he
just
do
books
that?
it.
Also, the motorcycles they had there, they're more like dirt bikes. Like, they don't seem like the dirt bike riding kind of guys. And then the sidecar, I don't know if that'd be good to be riding around in the woods.
Oh, not on trail. I know. I thought of that too, but I thought it was cool. At first, I'm like, that's cool. But then if the trail gets skinny, that guy gets...
Imagine that, like, rocking over, like, big tree roots and stuff. Nightmare.
Again, another quick cut right to Elaine Dragon. She's given... that's why I think it's the same day. There's no cut. Even here, there's no darkness yet. Because she's giving shit to Charlie. And she's like, I hope this concert... And he's like, I've done like a few dozen of these concerts. There's never been an issue. I've done this before. She's like, this is really important to me. And she's like, giving him a shit. And I'm like, man, this is just like Mare Vaughn. It's crazy. And she's great. She's great in this role. But I'm just like, wow, it's smart because obviously it worked in those movies, but to a T in some points.
Yeah. This is like the first one. It's Jaws on land. But this one leans a lot more into like the 80s tropes of horror. Whereas the first one, like I said before, it's a little more straightforward. It's a little more, it takes itself more seriously. It's more of like it's more of like, okay, here's a killer bear movie. This is like Monster Bear, 80s absurdity.
Sequels, baby. That's what's out. It's second movie.
Bigger and wilder.
Do you think the tagline had like they would have used like some kind of Jaws reference for this?
Just when you thought it was safe to go in the woods.
Could
you imagine that? They write it down. They're like, you son of a bitch. That's the same thing. It's like, oh shit, I forgot. They just copy and paste it and they just scratch out water and they put woods. God,
it would work. It would work though.
Hell yeah, it would. So
you guys know.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Doug.
No, go.
I want to get into casting a little bit. I texted you about this when I was watching it, but so Louise Fletcher and Mark Alamo, who's one of the grab ass hunters. He's the one with the mustache whose brother's killed.
Yeah.
He's the one that's crying about his brother. So I'm a Trekkie. The two of them were on the entire run of Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Shut up.
As villains. So Mark Alamo played an alien villain. He's like a dictator type. And so he's like mega bad guy through the whole series. she plays she's like a religious, like a pope type kind of character she's like morally gray. But the two of them on the whole run of the show basically had many, many scenes together. They had to have talked about making this movie. Because when that show started, it was only like 10, 12 years after this.
Yeah.
They had to have been talking about this movie on the set at least once.
Well, he probably got the job because of this movie. They probably saw some of his stills and they're like, you know what? This guy's perfect. His acting is amazing.
He was in like a lot of like character stuff like this, like bit things, and then he slowly became like more of a TV lead. Mostly because of Star Trek, but
wow,
he's also under 10 tons of makeup on that, you know.
And this is why you're our 5-timer.
I'm back, baby.
Well, right, it's still 4-time until we figure out what it is.
Oh, no, I was scrolling. Return to Sleepaway Camp. How did we forget?
Oh yeah, jeez.
How could we
What a
forget
nightmare.
Alan? Hashtag don't forget Alan. So the guy, it is funny. I wonder if they did mention that, like in between takes. What if they, because they didn't, maybe they never saw each other. This is fantasy in my head. Just now I thought of. So they never saw each other. They're like getting coffee or having a drink, and it's like, man, it's a lot better than that shitty bear movie I did 10 years ago. Wait,
thank goodness no one's ever going to see it.
You were in that too?
But this movie's awesome. So let's not. But so Drew is the guy that comes back on the motorcycle that we saw find the body. He comes back to say Luke's brother is dead. Again, why do these guys have names? I don't know. There's a lot of these names in this movie. I'm like, they all sound the same kind of names. They're just like Steve, Luke, Tina, Charlie, Nick, Samantha. It's like the whitest friggin' names possible. It's probably the top 10 baby names in 1983 or something. But so then they talk about he's kind of like mourning for 1 second. And then when they describe the bear, this is where I cut it from. And I cut it really bad because he's like almost looks like he's dying. But that's when he's like, get a lot of money for that bear. Probably $100,000. And I'm like, holy crap. And the fact that it's like 1983, they talk about like San Francisco, they're talking about like the Asian community, like using the gallbladder as an aphrodisiac. Like that is what this movie is about.
So that what were they there for before they found out?
Grab ass.
So this is their grab ass hangout in the woods.
They can't do it at their house. Their wives would be there.
That's true. Okay.
Come on, Steve. I'm going to slap your ass.
I just love how we'll get to that. We'll dive fully in.
All right, full disclosure, guys. I did not notice any grab ass.
No. There was when they were dancing
out.
around. There was one guy that grabbed the other guy's ass.
Oh yeah, no.
Okay.
I'm glad.
I must have blinked.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that saw it.
And actually, and what the one guy, Steve. Speaking of Halloween, Charles Cyphers. He's the sheriff in Halloween.
Yeah, that's that.
He's
and
Steve.
Then Death Wish 2. He's like another sequel guy. Bunch of stuff.
He's
so
great.
the casting director definitely got people that had some credentials.
Oh,
Cyphers.
dude.
He's a John Carpenter go-to. He's in like half of his movies.
Unreal. The cast director did amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Imagine what this could have been.
If it came out then, I wonder. I don't know. I
If
wonder
it was
what
a full movie. They didn't have to splice it together.
Well, considering the first one was one of the biggest movies at the time,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, the first one's not great, you know.
but it was like
it's a
for the
decent
time,
movie.
people I guess were flocked to it. They loved it.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you know, it's right in the wake from Jaws, so to speak. So,
Ooh,
you know,
nice pun. I like that.
killer animals were huge in the late 70s.
So connection. He looks like Grandpa Joe, the one guy with the mustache. His character name, you ready?
Joe?
Papas. Papa? Grandpa.
Oh,
Papa? What?
I thought you could have a better connection than that.
What do you mean? Papa is an Italian people's, right? What'd you call your grandpa growing up? You used to say, Papa.
Grandpa?
I said grandpa.
Yeah, I mean,
Me
Not
too.
that Italian.
What? I'm just saying. Some
Hey,
people
Papa.
So you're saying that there's a connection to Grizzly 2 and Willy Wonka?
Same
I really
cinematic
wish it
universe.
was the same guy. Like I was really hoping on when I went on IMDb.
Maybe that's why he was in bed all this time. He was mauled by a bear and he couldn't get up.
It's the fate that Grandpa Joe deserves. Son of a bitch.
So again, just going back, it's so funny when I watched this movie twice and going back through your notes while we talk about it. That's what I love doing this. I love sequels and I love just going back and diving in. Because one thing I forgot. So why the hell is Time Magazine there? I understand it's a huge concert. It's at a national park, Summit National Park. They wanted it to be like Yellowstone type, but I guess they couldn't use the name. But Time Magazine's there taking photos of her. The superintendent of a park is going to be.
That's why she must have been something before.
Yeah.
I agree. She had to be something big before, and then maybe this is her way of maybe getting back in there, and that's why she wanted to impress the other guy.
Yeah, there had to be like some. Even if they did another like exposition throwaway line, like she's like, well, it kind of did because they said, "Do you miss Washington?" So I guess that makes sense. But the fact that they're taking photos of her, and then in my head, I'm like, are these just like the back page photos, like in the middle, or like where is she on the cover? Like what is this? They were weird photos. She was just standing like right against, later we see as like the electrified fence.
Well, I think back then, like, the way they made the concert look, it looked like a Woodstock. It had so many people. So it was probably like, like a whole, I want to say it was probably like definitely a full day concert. That's why it had to be more than one day. Because
the concert was only filmed for one day.
No, I know. But I mean, it's light out in the early of the concert and gets darker later on. So it had to be a full day concert, like a Lollapalooza kind of thing. So that's why I
think this movie's all one day, except for the opening with Clooney and Dern and all them getting killed.
That's the night before.
The night, and then we get a whole Saturday, and just the mayhem that ensues.
No, I totally agree with that. That's what I understand. Lane said, like, "Hey, Saturday, you got to come to my concert." She'd say, "Hey, what are you doing today? Come to my concert." Because if you think about it, okay, we have to talk about the line about. So Nick goes to Charlie and he talks about they're going over the security for the concert because the bear. And he's like, hey, we're going to need some more guys on patrol for the bears. So can you handle it? And he was like, yeah, I've handled a bunch of these. But then he got really creepy. He was like, oh, you're Chrissy's daddy. He's like, you better watch out, man. She's cute. And I'm like, wow. I would punch somebody in the face. Like I was raging hearing that. I'm like, somebody that said that to Emerson, my daughter. Whew.
Well, would you prefer them to say that she's ugly? Is she ugly? Would you prefer that?
Well, then that's double punches. That's two. That's combo.
That's two ends of the spectrum here.
Just say she's nice. But no, that was kind of weird.
I want to talk about.
Yeah,
I want to talk about those crowd scenes. So we get the big crowd scenes at the concert, and then it looks like you're right. It looks like Woodstock, and then we're cutting to like scenes behind the stage where like people are just talking, and you're just hearing them like there's nothing going on. There's no concert.
There was silence. There was yeah.
The crowd would be deafening.
Yep.
These people are just strolling behind the stage talking.
And then the next scene is music playing again. Oh yeah. But again, I if you watch it again, you'll see there's a whole section of concert goers that look like, first of all, they would never go there for a concert of what music was playing. Like they were there for Nazareth. You could tell like these people were not there to see any of the other garbage that was on stage.
I wouldn't say garbage. We'll get into the bands.
Well, I mean, your garbage might be different than my garbage, but
So Nick and his daughter again. We hear about all he said was all one throwaway line was like, yeah, her mom's not around anymore is like one line that he says. But when he surprises her, when he comes up behind her and the duck sound comes, that's like ADR. I don't, he's still alive. So maybe they called him to do that or somebody did it. Is his mouth's not moving? And then he goes, she's like, I got a job. And he goes, I heard you're a gopher. Go for this and go for that. You go for your old man. Go where? What does that mean?
Things were different back then.
What does anything mean?
You go for your old man. And then I wrote, oh, and then she goes, in a big way. You go for your old man in a big way. And then she said, oh, this is where he says this throwaway line. He said, oh, your mom would be so proud of you. I don't know, getting a job, I guess. And then I go, maybe she died at the Liberty. Liberty accident. I don't know, maybe something fell from the top, from the crown.
Eh.
So then again, right back to the hunters. They find a great spot. They're gonna build a pit to catch the bear. And then again,
Well, they learned from Paul Bunyan.
Yeah, so that's like the next scene. So I'll cut to that because there's some of these parts in this. It's like really quick, but yeah, no, Cyphers, he does this whole exposition about Bouchard because we already hear about Bouchard in like the scene before that.
Correct.
But we can talk about it now. But it's just like, yeah, he's this French Canadian guy. He's the best hunter. And then when we hear from Charlie Cyphers, it's like, yeah, his whole family was murdered by bears, and I'm like, oh my god.
But see, you know what though? I think it would have been better if they did that part and then introduced him. Like, because, you know, like they already introduced him. So you already saw what kind of guy he is. And then they went over the story. I think like the buildup of the story of Bouchard, you know, would have been so much better.
Oh yeah.
Started dressing like an Indian, talking like an Indian.
Yeah.
What?
Because you know what? He was already dressed as an Indian at that point. So, you know, again, it kind of, it was almost like that scene was cut in the wrong spot because that should have been first. And then we saw him. But before you even get into Bouchard, the one question I had is, so you had the park ranger who wanted to save the bear. And then you had the guy that was going to kill the bear. Right.
Yeah.
And she gave everybody tranquilizers. Right. But she said bullets may not stop him, or his skull is too big or too thick.
Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah.
Okay, so what is a tranquilizer going to do?
Maybe
so if a bullet's not going to pierce this guy, what?
I don't know. Maybe a needle can fit through.
you think a tranquilizer for the size of this one tranquilizer dart is gonna affect this large bear?
You know what? Yeah, I think we found a hole here. Plot hole.
Well, there's definitely a few holes, but I'm just saying, like when she said that, I was like, so bullets can't penetrate his skull because it's so thick. But yeah, let's give everybody tranquilizers.
Well, multiple darts. Your veins are, you know, right under your skin. As long as it gets into the bloodstream.
This is a King Kong of bears. I mean, I don't. It needs a lot of tranquilizer darts.
Yeah, get a bunch of guys out there shooting darts.
Yeah, and the line when they have that one-on-one when it's just Nick and Samantha, it's really troubling because I know she loves bears, and he's already like pissed that people died, Nick, and he's like, let's do this. And she's like, bullets is backup. And this is like just before they go outside and introduce everything. When she looks at him and goes, what if someone murdered Christy when she was young? I'm like, Jesus Christ. I understand their animals are people too, you know, sort of. But
well, she said the Grizzly's not guilty of anything. The Grizzly killed 4 people at this point. So what is he not guilty of? But that's what she said. Like I think she was so blinded, you know, being, you know, an animal lover that she really could care less about anyone dying.
Yeah, no, she had no care even later. But again, kind of something maybe cut wise, she changes really quick within a scene.
She does, but like, okay, she's running. You're there. She's running for her life from the bear. The guy saves her. And then she gets mad at him for shooting the bear.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, she's a mess.
That was really, she's like, that's bear. A medium size. It's a male. Why would you do that?
But she was running for her life. What do you, I mean, you know, yeah.
Yeah, that made no sense. So even before, when we just talked about the last scene, right now we're about 20 minutes in and they just found the bodies of Dern, Sheen, and Clooney. This is when he's like, screw the tranquilizers. We're going to go right to the bullets. And then the first time we heard the name Bouchard is Pete talks about him because I guess they knew each other when they were both in Canada. But this is like the first real like Mayor Vaughn type line. I know I was saying earlier that Elaine Dragon, she was acting like it sort of, but again, she must be somebody huge because she says in the earlier scene, she says, I'm the superintendent of the parks. But Nick goes and says, hey, 3 people died. I really think we need to shut down the concert. She's like, no. And he's like, but you can call the state troopers in. And I'm like, why can't he call this? Right? Park rangers have power. You think the superintendent of the park can? That made no.
What kind of power does the park ranger have?
This is the scene where he's yelling to her from the Jeep, right?
Yes.
Yes.
One of the weirdest conversations in the whole movie. Because he is so riled up about these deaths, and she's just like, yeah, you do it. I'm not dealing with it. I'm like, what? It was 2 totally different energies in this scene.
Well, that's kind of Mayor Vaughn-ish when Brody's going nuts at the beach and Mayor Vaughn just like, hi. He's like waving at people walking past and he's like so even keeled. And he's like, we can. It's 4th of July weekend. Like, so I get like why she was doing that. But again, the fact that he has to go to her to say, hey, let's make sure that we, call the state troopers. Dude, do it on your own. Pretend to throw your voice. Hi, this is Elaine Dragon. Something. Do something. But don't do nothing. Your freaking we'll get to it later. Your freaking daughter's at this working this concert, and you're just like, all right, I'm just gonna leave. We talked about it a million times, but we have to mention it. This is the scene where the grab ass happens, and it all starts off with them saying, hey, did you get a load of the new park ranger? And then they all
they all got excited and they all started dancing in a circle.
Well, they weren't dancing. They were making fun of him like he's got a real stick up his butt. And Grandpa Joe starts, and he goes, whoop. And then he starts.
No, it wasn't a stick. It wasn't a stick up.
Well,
no, he said something like almost. Oh,
no, I know. Right. That's what he was going for. But he said, I thought one of them said like he's got something up his butt.
Yeah, I think what he was saying was he got something in it. Yeah, maybe a male on male action kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what they were all doing. Then walking around.
Right, and that's what he said. Yeah.
Why was the one guy mocking the guy like it's not a mocking, calling him like a homosexual? But when the one guy goes past, they're all doing a dance in a circle. The one guy is like a gay waiter, and he's like, woo, and I'm like, oh my god! And then at one of them, it was like maybe that's how they always start their game of grab ass. They pick somebody they all mutually don't like, and then they like push what they're really feeling onto it. Then they go in a circle 2 times, and then the one guy just, dude, I can't believe.
Hold on. You know what? I have to be honest. You know a lot of detail of what goes on for a game of grab ass.
You're looking at Grab Ass Champion 1999 summer camp.
All right, whatever.
But so here's something. Do you think if we could get the script, does it say in there, Pappas grabs ass? Or
I don't think Pappas grabbed the ass.
I thought it was Pappas. No,
I don't. He was the one walking with a stick up there. I think it was one of the other guys. I think
I'll have to watch it again. But no,
like you don't know exactly where the spot is.
I'm sure it says something like, guys horseplay or whatever.
And
you say horseplay, Doug says grab ass. Same thing.
You say potato. But no, I wonder if that'd be great if that was improvised. And the guy just goes boop. And they're like, hey, this is fun. But just that whole God. And then that's the whole thing. And then wasn't it weird that again they were so drunk and then they just stop and they're like, hey, what if that ranger finds Harvey's body? I'm like, wait. So during this time, your brother's dead, like within like a few hundred yards, probably, and you don't like go to recover the body. Sure enough,
grab ass comes first every time.
Oh my gosh. And then they find that body, and then Ranger Pete, man, this sucks. Could you imagine this whole scenario just like coming up on these guys? Again, I don't know if they know that there's 4 guys or maybe they thought there was 5, but he sees the 3 guys. He's like, all right, hold up. And then the one guy just comes from behind, knocks him out. Oh,
He got very close to him very quickly and very quietly. Like, you're there in the woods. He should have heard him.
well,
So
he
he's
knew
not much. He's
Bouchard,
not much of a ranger.
but he knew Bouchard, so maybe Bouchard taught him the ways.
I guess. But yeah, I mean, what was their point? Like, I mean, like, first of all, why was the ranger like? I guess they can't have the guns out there, or they're allowed because there are multiple
Poaching.
people. Yeah, but a lot of people were. That guy in the beginning was. I mean, they had a few people out there.
Well, they couldn't kill a guy from stock footage from a few years ago. They couldn't arrest him. No, but then they knock him out.
Yeah.
They take everything from him, they panic, and then this is when they go. They all start like sort of yelling, like, "Get out of here!" And they're like, "Woo!" They're going away in the sidecar. Now this is Pappas was in the sidecar,
Yes.
so he was too drunk. That's how they decided.
You think like the winner of Grab Ass gets the sidecar?
Yes, yes. God, I hope so. Oh my God. And then poor Pete wakes up with just his flashlight. And this again, I would love to, if they could have the second unit and had the bear suit that was made that just for some reason wasn't working, or the medium-sized bear that they had. Because this chase scenes are pretty cool, but if you could have saw more bear, it would have gave to the fear of it.
We saw a lot of bear facial expressions throughout the movie.
We did see him or the side shot, which we'll get into. That was a little something. But he's running like really casual at first, and then he books, and it's really like I don't know. It looks great, and then where does he run? The one place you don't run
In a
probably
cave.
the bear's house.
Yeah, that wasn't a bright idea.
Where do you go, man? I guess you got to
That
go
was
somewhere.
that was another sequence that cut between night and day a few times.
Yes, it did.
You climb a tree. The bear. I mean, that's a big bear to climb a tree.
He can climb a tree. What do you mean? Just because he's big, he's probably strong as other bears.
He's too heavy. The tree would bend.
He's too tall. He'd eat him right out of the tree like a T-Rex.
That is true. Because they said, like in the earlier scene when he's like, how high are the claw marks? And he said like 18 feet. And the guy's like, oh, we can get 100,000 for that. So yeah, he couldn't have got up that quick. I don't know. But what a way to go. Bear. Ugh. Jesus. And then
Well, this is the 5th murder.
yeah. And then now Samantha's really feeling it. This is when
Correct.
she's really sad. She's kind of like,
Well, she knew the ranger. He was a nice guy. So
yeah, but the thing is, even if she said, hey guys, let's just kill this friggin' bear, they said in the beginning, they never saw it, no matter what. They didn't even get to it with the tranks. So it's not like they were like searching differently with tranks versus the bullets. They just weren't good finders, like really, because there was nothing that could have been on her. But then we get it, baby. Then we get National Geographic for 5 minutes.
I was going to say the 100%. We had the documentary of all the animals in the wild. Clear. There's a lot of filler in this movie.
Yeah.
A lot of filler.
I would
Today, I knew
love more
I knew I
Bouchard.
could fast forward through today.
Yeah. How much did you fast forward through, you think? I would say 15 minutes.
Let's see. I got through an hour and 8-minute movie in I don't know, 40 minutes.
Yeah, but you already saw it once, so you knew when to fast forward.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole concert can easily be fast forward.
Yeah,
No.
I was scrolling through that real quick. Speaking
I
of,
would
I think we need to get. I don't know how your notes flow, Doug, but we need to get into some more concert stuff.
Well, that's 80% of the movie, so we're almost there.
Yeah, no, we are pretty much almost at the concert. We are, no. But first, we have to finally fully introduce Bouchard. So Nick and Sam, they're going after the 5-minute National Geographic. They go down this road, and then there's this huge branch, and right away they're saying, "Oh, this must be him." And then I'm not kidding. If you're watching this on video, if not, I'll describe the photo. He's standing there like Jamie's been saying, like Paul Bunyan. And in my head, I'm like, do you think he was just waiting there for like 30 minutes? Every time he heard a car, he was just getting ready. Because
do you think they were going for the Paul Bunyan? Seriously, I mean, like he got the axe. He's a big guy, and he's got the shirt. I mean, he looks like Paul Bunyan. I wonder if they were really going for that kind of.
I would think so. But his look, I could have watched a horror movie with him.
Oh yeah,
because how intense his fit. He's such a phenomenal actor. We were like, when we watched Anaconda 3, he was so barely in it, but every time he was in it, you just like, I don't know, he just like steals it.
Well, it took me a while. I never knew he was the same one from Raiders of the Lost Ark to Lord of the Rings. And it's like, like he's so good that you forget who he is when he does some of these movies.
That's how you know they're the good ones. Some of these roles you don't even know.
When I see his name in the cast.
Yeah. And he's the fact we talked about him lifting the tree, but here it is, man. When she's talking about the grizzly and the size of it, and like she's starting to talk, and he like cuts her off. He's like, "You ain't seen a big grizzly, Miss Bear Management. Bouchard has seen it." And then she's going into the measurements, and when he's asking her the question, she's like, they like zoom in on him because he's like, "Holy shit, this is like the biggest."
He's so intense. Yeah.
Now, Egan, you ready? It's concert time, baby.
Right.
So impossible.
So again, I don't know how many of those bands were not real, but from what I read, it was definitely a Nazareth concert, and the people that came there to see Nazareth didn't know they were fake bands on stage. Now, I don't know if all of them. I don't know which ones were fake. To me, they all sounded fake.
Oh no.
I think it's just one of them.
Well, the Spice Girls one? They had a Spice Girls.
That was the Milk and the Coconut song that we played before.
They had a lot. I mean, I don't know which one it was, but there was like, but Nazareth had to sit. The fans of Nazareth had to sit through this. Like, can you imagine? Like,
yeah, there's a lot of scenes. Like you mentioned before, there's a lot of scenes of the crowd.
Oh yeah,
where the bands are playing. You can see the crowd is like they're clapping along and they're bopping a little bit, but they have no idea.
Well, I wonder if some of the extras were like in the front, so they're the ones clapping, because there's really a section of clappers, and then you have a section of people standing there doing like shock. Like, what are we watching right now?
What band is this? I don't know these lyrics.
It was like Devo. Like one of them was like Devo. Whip it.
You mean,
like,
you're talking about the dad band?
I can't sing along to this.
I did like the dad band because they all look like dads. The guy in the keyboards had a giant afro. The guy in the drums looked like he was like 60 years old, just retired. That whole scene. But God, this like the only.
You know what? That might have been Nazareth. The one I think Nazareth was in because they kind of looked like that, Nazareth. Because I looked them up.
I didn't name in the credits when they show all the.
Oh, they did, because the one band looked like a. They all had the long hair. Like I said, they might have been like a rock band from the 70s. I could be wrong.
So the one band, this we'll talk about it later, but this is like one scene that is not enough to like add up to lines at the end, like not too far out, but. When Chrissy is making eyes at the British singer in like the short shorts, and I'm like, all right. And
what a douche.
I know, but it made no sense later in the movie. Like, that's all we got as the audience for that part. And again, I guess they just didn't have the footage, because later when she sees him, we'll just talk about it now. When he's like running in the woods where you think maybe he's going to get attacked by a bear, and Chrissy's waiting at his, again, this is all the same day. Because he's at the sound check, then he's running, but then she's like, "I really like you, and then he's, dude, what a dick.
Well, so say, like when she goes to him and goes, "Am I a game, a laugh, a joke?" And then he just looks at it and goes, "Yes." Like there was no like, no, I mean, like really, like he could have like at least dropped it a little something. Like no, he was so
waiting for her to start laughing. Like I was waiting for her to start laughing and him to start laughing, like it was all a joke. Like
right,
oh, I like you more than I'm letting on. No,
he was serious. He was serious.
Shit. By the way, Doug, I don't know if you saw before. I have a whole section, and that's all it says. It's just Barry.
Barry.
Because I could talk about him the rest of the night. The short shorts, the bite taken out of his ear, the jogging.
Yeah. That was
when he's
weird.
jogging. When he's jogging up to talk to her, he's listening to himself. He's listening to the song he recorded at soundcheck.
Impossible.
The bite out of his ear.
Oh my god, dude. That's vain.
Because there's definitely like a sex scene that was never filmed between them.
There was a lot. She just started working there.
There's a whole one-sided romance there that is missing. It was just never filmed.
Yeah, there was
just shits all over and sends her packing.
You should at least give her like a band T-shirt autographed it, thrown it. Like, at least Derek Jeter would give like autographs and like a gift basket or something.
Or at least explain why he's got a bite out of his ear.
Yeah. That makes no sense.
All I could look at was his ear the whole time. Like, they should have shot him from the other angle. This is my good side.
You know what? I feel like they mostly showed that one side to him because you did see the ear the whole time. Yeah.
I'm Barry, baby. Now get out of here, you joke.
So then we go right to, we see the stereotypical Jamaican guy selling the weed, and he goes, it's all the way from Hawaii. And why was the guy, there's always choices in movies. And again, was in the script or did the guy go to wardrobe and decide like, yeah, I'm going to do this? But the roadie, he had a broken arm. He had just a broken arm out of the sling. It wasn't even the sling in that part. And the guy goes to him, yeah, this weed will rip your brains out. And I'm like, that's not a good sales pitch. You're trying to sell somebody on buying your product.
This weed's gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah, I like that.
No, that guy definitely had a broken arm, and they just used him. 100%, his arm was actually broken. That wasn't a choice.
Oh, you mean like in real life?
Oh yeah.
Maybe he broke his arm on set. He was like a set builder. He broke his arm. They're like, whoa, don't sue us. We'll let you be in the movie. Want to be a movie star?
No lines. Not one line. He's just like, you're talking about the guy that like he's trying to sell the weed to, right?
Yeah, no, he has a line later. He shuts down a lane. He goes, you can't go back here. Yeah, that's his own.
Do you think he got his set card with that?
Oh, well, I guess now.
Oh, he spoke. He spoke.
And he spoke in dialogue.
Yeah, no, he definitely got one.
Right there.
So does he get it now? Oh, I wonder, do you get your SAG if it's not released?
Ooh.
We got to get a SAG expert. I got to call Kevin Kilner, who was the early interview. He was
we have had a lot of SAG questions.
I mean, he definitely got a higher paycheck even without the movie getting released. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, we've talked about SAG a lot in the show because we've seen movies where do you get SAG if you don't say a line because you're mute in a movie?
I don't think so.
But what if you're mute in real life?
This guy loves these SAG questions, cartoon questions.
Well, we haven't had a SAG expert. We got to do cartoon characters get SAG?
No, the voice actor does, but not Wile E. Coyote is a cartoon.
I don't know about that. So you're saying Kermit doesn't get a SAG?
Well, Kermit's real, right?
Does Jim Henson have a SAG card? I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
We need a SAG expert. That's it.
So the next scene, more concert, and then this is the concert part where, again, I don't think they had rights to some of the music because even Toto Colo, who sings "Milk from a Coconut," the Five Girls, which hey, I'm a huge fan now. Later, it's their song, them singing, but it's like for some reason, it's either they didn't record it or because it didn't match the next like montage of the bands. Nothing matched at all. So I didn't know if that was like they couldn't obtain the rights or they didn't record it right at the time and could never match it up.
Did you look and see if they had other songs besides that one?
Toto Colo?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to. That one song has
what do you have to?
4 million views.
It does.
There's 4 million Milk and Coconut fans.
All right.
That song.
Those views were you.
I will listen to that repeat. That'll be my new jogging song. But Milk from a Coke and the lines in that song, if you really listen to them, it's the bizarre.
I really try not to listen to it, and I was trying to, like with Egan, I should have fast forwarded, but I wasn't paying attention. There was a lot of nonsense in the concert. I couldn't listen to too long.
Okay, so here's my favorite guy. So I have him hidden behind me.
Oh man.
What was this guy? Was that a choice? Was that a choice to have not only his cut shirt but cut up, and then his hair was all messy, and his first line was "ow"? He was like howling into the mic.
The bands seemed weird. Like they, like I don't picture. When did this take place? It's supposed to be the late 70s or early 80s?
Well, it's 83. A lot of these are like, from what she told me, these are like experimental rock groups from England that were brought over by the guy.
I don't know about rockers, but
yeah, but the guy that's the love interest of Chrissy, he was actually in a band. He actually got a lot of people in Great Britain to actually fly out for this concert.
Oh wow,
his fans.
Wow.
Very.
Wow.
Yeah.
This we're in that weird time of the 80s. It's like post-punk, new wave, experimental, we're moving on to like electronica and all that. So this is definitely we're in the middle of it right here.
Yeah, I don't know. The size of that crowd for this kind of music.
Oh yeah, in the 80s, I especially in Europe, this was huge. Like it was huge in England and like Middle Europe.
Middle Earth. Gimli.
John Rice Davies. That's why he's there.
Yeah, baby. So then we get Bouchard, and it's already getting dark. We're on a scene that's already starting to get dark, and it's the same friggin' night. And this is where he's setting the traps. And I love that he did the outfit change. Did they watch him change? Did he just say, Bouchard must go behind tree now, and then he changed real quick? Or was that just something that went over? Lots of questions for that.
I also like when they say, I think she said, or he said, they said, I want to see a bear trap in action. It's a bear trap. I mean, like, I didn't realize he goes, I want to see the trap in action. So I wasn't thinking it was going to be a bear trap. I'm thinking like it was some kind of high tech way to kill the bear. No, it was a simple bear trap. He put a stick in there and it crushed it.
Well, he worked at the Liberty for all those years. They didn't have bear traps at the Liberty, baby. Maybe for the giant racks on the subway. Oh,
You're on fire tonight.
But there were some great lines that he said when he was setting the traps. Grizzly loves the rotten meat. And he goes, a pine needle falls and the eagle sees it. And the bear, she smells it. I just
think he made up some of these lines.
Oh, hell yeah. Dude, he was so into this character.
He was.
Oh, and he still loves it. If you read the Entertainment Weekly, it's unbelievable how much he loved this character.
He was.
What's not the love?
Giving it his all.
He was.
There's not one moment where he's slacking off.
Well, this is why he was able to get the role as Gimli. I mean, they saw this and they said, you know what? That's our man, a guy with an axe.
It's wild to me that this is after Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
He's already in a huge Spielberg movie, and then he does this. But I guess it's the same idea as like Louise Fletcher being in Cuckoo's Nest and then this.
Yeah, but I think, with Raiders of the Lost Ark, he was such a side character. He wasn't he was the comic relief kind of like, so this was like his action role.
Sure. Yeah, no, he's a side character, but that was like the biggest movie in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And I love that Nick's such a city boy. That's him doing his more Brody, like Brody out like in boats. Yeah, this guy's a park ranger. He goes, man, this guy loves hills.
Yeah, that actually cracks me up.
So we were just talking about, so again, Bouchard, he shows him with the trap like you were mentioning before. And then, so this was again, so ridiculous. We cut back to the bands again. And so we have fireworks and then the dad band. It's the guy with the afro, the drums. And I'm like, these guys must be, maybe they were like a local Hungarian band, or maybe they were like one of those bands from Europe. But then why do we cut to, again, it's probably stock footage, but just construction workers working at sunset? I'm just like, okay, this concert's already going on. What are they fixing?
They needed filler. This is what happened. I mean, there's no way they wanted this much of the music to be in the movie. You know, I mean, they needed filler. They weren't enough scenes filmed, and you know, they just threw whatever they could, they pieced together, and they made like a puzzle out of it.
They did something. They did something.
It was originally called The Concert.
I know. I wonder. That must have been on the script, but I don't know if would they have ever released it as that name. That's like too on the nose.
Well, I know.
Oh, you're being serious?
Yeah.
It was The Concert?
Yeah.
Well, that's what it was
2,
like known
it was
as.
Grizzly 2, The Concert.
Yeah, but you know what? If you take out the concert scenes and the nature documentary, you literally have maybe 40 minutes of movie.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so I don't think they had a choice, but I can't imagine the final product really having this much of it, because it really, I hate to say, I mean, you know, the movie's good, you know, but it dragged. This whole concert, it was like full songs.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah. So like a couple of things we already talked about happens with the poachers when they're building everything. They're building the pits and putting the stakes in the pits. And then with the senator and his wife arrive, who his wife looked really familiar. It's weird this IMDb isn't fully filled out. I guess maybe if I watched the end of the credits, I would have saw it. Or on Grizzly 2 Revenge, they have all of it. But dude, it kind of looked like remember the old couple in Home Alone in the airport? It looked like the wife in that old couple because she looks so familiar. I'll double check it. Jamie's making faces at me.
I would say she would have to be pretty old.
This is 83. 10 years later, she'd be pretty old.
Oh, it's only not okay. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
All right, you're right.
Thank you. Well, I don't know if I'm right, but then I wrote: is the senator a fan of European rock and roll? Is this the selling point? Is he's going to be like, holy shit, Elaine, whatever you want, it's yours.
You know what? Based on the size of that crowd, I'm sure these were the hottest bands, you know, for any age. I mean, so yes, it was probably the biggest ticket out there because this literally was a Woodstock like crowd. Like it was huge.
No, yeah, it definitely was. So maybe that was like something that like, you know, and got them like going. You know, maybe that's something like, oh my god, look at this, honey, I told you the senator thing's gonna pay off. But the story of that Bouchard, when him and Sam and Nick are having like the heart to heart, and he talks about the way they used to hunt Grizzly, the look on Sam's face is like just like horrifying, and the number was so much higher than I thought when he was talking about them. Just we used to go on horseback, and
just the way he spoke, you know, like the way he told his stories, like in like pauses, and he was just so great. I mean, such a great character.
Me and my grandfather. Fucking 25 grizzlies drawn and quartered, the son of a beach.
And her face
the look on her face was the look on my face watching this movie.
Oh yeah.
What was she excited during this part?
What?
I was saying, was it a look of excitement? No, Bouchard scenes are like again, his story was the best part of the movie. Easy.
Yeah.
Wait. You're saying it's better than the grab ass scene?
I know you're gonna say that. Grab ass 2, Coca Cola 3. But so then again, now it's the first time we cut back to that, and the music's matching up. It's that song that I've talked about a bunch. But one of the lines was, "Hey, you! Did you get the milk? Did you take the milk from the Coke?" It's amazing. I just love everything about that song. It's just like
I have to I really still question it though. I don't know if people just that can't be real.
The song?
It can't. Yes,
it's cool though, man.
Oh, you know what? Later, send me their album. I want to see what other songs they have because that song was ridiculous.
I'm going to be listening to the whole album as soon as we're done. Right after this, I'm going to listen to all of it. And then I talked about it just before, was the senator and his wife, they show them like in the VIP and they're like loving everything about this. So it's like, hey, this worked. And Suzanne told me she's somewhere in that section when they filmed this scene. That was the first day of filming, doing all those shots. And everything else is afterwards. But I couldn't find her. I paused it. I looked around. I'm like, man, I should have asked her like where she was. Because there was a couple of blonde women. And I was just like, that's got to be pretty cool. She put together all of that. Right in where in a socialist country, Russian army trained like a mile away.
Yeah.
Like absolutely mind blowing. And then we talked about it earlier. Yeah.
I was gonna say just some of the audience members, when you see them walking like the picture you have, there were so many interesting people in that crowd. Like, and these are real people. Like these aren't even any actors. It's like everyday, regular people.
Oh, dude, you can tell that they're all European.
Oh yeah.
Oh, easy. There's just a look on their face. I'm just like, oh my God. And the fact that the lady's carrying a baby, the cigarette hanging from her mouth, that is like, that's it.
Well, is that frowned upon?
Well, no, it is. It's frowned upon when you don't give the baby a cigarette. You gotta share, Mom.
Now I'm thinking about bringing that baby to that concert.
Well, I was thinking that, like,
I've been focusing on the cigarette the whole time.
Think about how many people are there, and they're bringing a baby, a toddler, to a concert with thousands of people.
Come on, you baby! I couldn't get a babysitter.
What if that's not her baby, but a friend?
Wait, is she's holding hands with the other girl.
Oh yeah.
I just noticed that.
Maybe they stole that baby. They're like, hey, wouldn't it be funny? We stole the neighbor's baby and took it to a concert.
Maybe that's a guy.
Maybe it's a
long hair.
All that 80s Jerry curl going on.
Yeah, I mean,
oh shit, that's
Jerry in the front, party in the back.
So we talked about it a little bit earlier, but like Nick, obviously he cares about his daughter, his wife. We don't know what happened to her. When he sees her, he knows all this is going around. Like everything's happening so close. People are dying. And it's like midnight. Because he even says like, it's midnight at this point. And he is like, all right, just make sure you take the main road home. Don't take the shortcut. I'm like, put your daughter in the car or make her stay in something. Why would you even let her venture out, man? That's your only.
Well, clearly parents aren't good parents in this movie. I mean, because noticing if you move to your left a little bit, Doug, the other woman has a baby too.
No.
Double baby.
They stole two babies.
So clearly the parents in this movie just are not good parents.
That's really funny. I didn't even notice that. So amazing, dude. So this Grandpa Joe, Papa's is a real riot. How about the scene when he's grabbing the dead rabbit and talking like it's a puppet? He's like, oh yeah, how about $100,000? What if there's two bears? 200,000. And I'm like, wow, this guy is something. And then again, boom, bear comes out of nowhere. Papa shoots a gun just in the air. One guy falls right into the pit, and then he shot.
Didn't he shoot the guy by accident?
Ooh, did he? I saw the guy fly back. I didn't know if he shot him.
I thought he shot him, and that's why he fell in.
Oh. You think he turned on him? But we saw the bear already. You thought he got scared, fired, shot.
Right. Yes. That's what I think. I don't think they were prepared for what they saw. I mean, again, you see a bear the size of King Kong, your reaction's going to be a little different than if you saw a regular bear.
Yeah. And I did enjoy what the bear did. So this is like what a sequel bear does versus an original film bear. Because when Bouchard's running around like a madman and he finds all the poachers dead, the guy that was like the other guy's Pappas was like ripped, stomach is ripped open. The one guy's in the pit. The one guy was in the tree.
Yeah.
The branches, that looked pretty cool. Like,
you know what? Scratch my thought from before about climbing a tree, because he looked like he got killed the worst way.
See, good thing he didn't listen to you. Well, Pete died anyway. So I guess he would have died anyway. You just choose how you're going to die.
They had a couple good gore effects in this movie.
Oh yeah, I love that one. I was like, man, that's so cool to be able to see that. But again, I hated the fact that the one thing I did hate again, it must have been actual stock footage. I don't know why they didn't use newer stock footage because they've been implementing it throughout the movie. But when you saw that really grainy stock footage of the bear running after the guy's impaled, so it's like the bear's running from Bouchard, because I don't know, it makes no sense. And then, like you were talking about earlier, like when they were backstage and you heard them shouting, you heard like not even shouting, the people were talking normal backstage, concerts going on, nothing phased. How about when the bears are growling and you hear it and the Rangers are just walking? Wouldn't they have been walking, stop and be like, holy crap? It was just like they shouldn't have added the bear growling over that.
Yeah, because there was no reaction.
Right.
There could have been some really great like suspense terror built up. Like like American Werewolf in London. Like you hear the howling in the distance and the characters get terrified because they know something's getting closer. There could have been a ton of that in this movie.
Hell yeah. They could have done that so much. Even at the concert, I know maybe they couldn't have done it for like just like insurance. But once the concert's over, you tell all the people, okay, guys, thanks for coming to our concert for this movie. We want you just to start running. Because that never happened at all. It's like people.
Yeah,
that's what
I thought we were going to get
even if they use a section of the crowd to like give that illusion of it, but I don't know.
I thought we were going to get like a Jaws scene where the bear's going into the crowd and start like slashing away. Like, you know, when I think it was Jaws 2 or 3, when they were, all the rafts are out there and the Jaws started. 2. I thought that would have been good. Let's just get a couple of kills in the crowd, you know, to make it more intense.
Just kill some crowd people. Kill them.
All right, let's go.
You know what? I got news to you. After listening to some of that music, they probably would have been okay with getting mauled by a bear.
Or the bear goes out there, pulls a cigarette out of the lady's mouth, and is like, "Hey, I need to kill you now."
So is Smokey the Bear? Are you doing
smoking kills?
Flash. It's almost like, so we just went from him being Michael Myers. Now the bear is Freddy Krueger.
Yep, smoking kills, and then slash across the throat, and then just some smoke coming out of the wound. Done.
Love it. I love
Grizzly
every second of that. So then the bear is getting close to the concert. We just see Bouchard. So this is one part. So Egan, you saw it twice. Jamie, you saw it once. So when you saw the bear getting close and you saw like that POV and you saw somebody lifting boxes and fireworks started going off, that was Bouchard or no? Or was that someone else? You couldn't.
He ran towards the fireworks, I thought. So I don't think it was him.
So who was that guy?
I thought it was someone. It was someone else. It was like the concert pyrotechnic guy.
That's what I think.
Because I paused it and you can't see a face. It's only 2 seconds. And I'm like, man, because then Bouchard comes out later. I'm like, oh, he's not on fire. The other guy got set on fire. Like from that. But
I thought it was a mistake. I thought someone did something and that's what started a fire. Like I thought it was a mistake with the concert, whatever, or something.
It must have been. Like, it's not like the bear was setting that off.
No, but it wasn't. I wasn't a plan by Bouchard to do that. I thought it was the bear.
The bear. Only I can start forest fires. So Jamie,
dynamite at people.
So Jamie, did you notice a cameo? Another sequel that we covered actor. So the Jamaican guy's like so high, he's freaking out when they see the bear. It's right after Nick and Sam somehow crash. I don't even know what it's not like the bear like pushed the car over, they just crashed. So the guy who's playing like Charlie's assistant, that was Ian McNeice, who played Greenwall in Ace Ventura 2.
Yes, that I knew. Yes.
I was like, man, that guy looks so familiar. I looked him up and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
He's in it so much.
Yeah. He's another guy that's like a side character. You know, you've seen him so many times you don't realize. Yeah, again, casting. I mean, it's amazing. All the people that were in this movie and what they went on to after it.
I'm calling it now. Casting director of Grizzly 2: The Revenge, MVP of the movie.
Oh,
easy. Oh, tie between Bouchard and tie between if it was a choice, start playing grab ass.
I thought the guy that's holding the grizzly arm was pretty good too.
That's pretty good.
Okay, so
So the next scene is just defines out what this movie, and maybe that's why John Rhys Davis really is like so excited for it to like see the light of day, because the next scene, all the roadies run out, they help pick up Nick and Sam, and then Bouchard just has this look in his eyes. He turns to the bear and he pulls his axe out, and he's just like, you're like, what the hell is going to happen? And this is the same time that I know Egan's going to take it from here when he talked about he had a lot of notes when he gets on the forklift, because that's when Nick gets on the forklift.
well, this is where you see the size of the bear, right? When he gets the axe.
This
And
is-
it's like, I didn't think the bear was that big until this scene right here. I didn't realize how big this bear was.
Yeah, there's no continuity with the size of the bear until the end,
Right.
where he's on the forklift driving, and you just see the belly of the bear coming, because I guess the bear is running on its hind legs, right?
Yeah.
Just coming at him.
Well, you know what? I think the bear's on its hind legs the whole time, because even when you see the point of view from the bear, like in the beginning of the movie, it's always from like over the trees. Like it's high. It's a high view.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it just cracks me up thinking about a bear running on its hind legs.
But do you guys like the line that he says? Because it's pretty much, come on, it's the same line as Brody in Jaws 2. He says, "Come on, you son of a bitch."
Yeah.
And well, in Jaws 1, smile, you son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple Jaws rip-off lines in this, I think. Or maybe I'm thinking about Grizzly 1.
Oh, maybe that's it.
There's definitely we need a bigger helicopter in one of these movies.
What? Probably.
Well,
the
there is a helicopter in this movie in the beginning of the movie, and the helicopter looks like a toy helicopter. Like it looked like it was like they were standing in front of the helicopter and it landed, but you didn't see anybody come out. But it looked like such a small helicopter, you know, when it landed. So I wonder if it was a real helicopter or not.
That's when the senator arrived. He arrived in a toy helicopter.
So you know what though? That line would work then. We need a bigger helicopter.
Yeah. It's in one of these movies.
So Bouchard uses, it's pretty cool. He actually uses the whole about his grandpa's story that they used to, they killed 25 grizzly bears with just rope and horses. Pretty crazy. But when he has the rope in his one hand, where is he carrying that rope? I guess maybe on his, tied to one of his like little tethers that were hanging off of his Native American jacket. And then he just has that knife and he's just stabbing away. And just the way he goes, man.
Do they explain why he does the American Indian thing?
Nope.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
They talk about it.
Well,
they talk about it.
Yeah, they talk
No,
about
they talk about it, but they don't explain why. Like what's,
He just snapped
yeah. Okay.
and he became a wild man.
He wanted to be one with bear. Good if you saw
I do
your
love-
wife and kids get mauled by a bear, and then maybe they should have thrown that line in. Charlie Cypher should have been like, yeah, and then he befriended a local Native American tribe. Just something. where
Right.
it's
Something.
like,
Right.
makes sense. But they didn't want to
He
do
went
that.
into that sweat lodge and never came out the same.
Poltergeist 2, baby.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
sweat
yeah.
lodge, man. Things happen in that sweat lodge.
Oh, well, it showed up in another movie. Didn't it show up in another? It was. I
Yeah.
thought in another movie we did. No, I think it was another movie we did, and we mentioned it. There was some
Yeah.
kind of
It's a popular sequel thing. Throw in the sweat lodge. But
I did love his like Rambo / Predator preparation scene where he's just getting ready, he's getting all his tools together, he's got his tassels on. That was a key moment for me. I don't know about you guys.
he's right. Bouchard is going full Bouchard, and just I don't know. I just love everything about him, and the way he goes, just getting tossed by the bear arm, gets impaled on the thing. But again, all of this is going on. No one's batting an eye yet. Like in a few
no.
seconds,
The music starts playing again. Like during a lot of this part, there was no music at all. The band was not playing. There was a silence, and then the music starts playing again in the concert.
it's maybe they wanted to listen, and they were like, you know what? Let's turn it back up. It's not good. But but Nick's
Did we get-
idea is just, I guess, did he know that? Was he around that long, or is that quick on his feet that he's like, oh, electrocution? Oh my God, Jaws 2, electrical
Yes.
wire. Wow.
I thought of that right away. Yeah.
Wow. So then he crawls under the fence, and the bear's that stupid. This bear that's been peeping and doing all this stuff. He's like, oh, fence.
Well, when it comes to electrocution, though, was there supposed to be Christmas lights there? Because it looked like the bear was tangled in Christmas lights.
Yeah, that was like the only, maybe that's when they were finally able to use that one bear because it was already broken. It was all like wrapped around everything. But when you saw his mouth for like that 2-second shot of the large one, and it was like the teeth were like metal looking, and you just saw flames coming out.
It looked like the country bear jamboree from Disney World. It looked-
Yes. And then all you see is Elaine. She just rolls with it when they're like, oh, is that part of the show? And she's like, yes. Yes. And then I'm like, wait, those people love that senator and his wife love like European, like whatever the hell kind of rock and roll music this is. And they love seeing a bear on fire. Like, that is like, whoa, this is it.
Well, it's pre-Ozzy and Bat.
He didn't eat a bat yet? 83?
Yeah, it's right. Okay, so it is. Okay, it's a post-Ozzy and Bat. So it's the thing to kill, torture and kill animals on stage.
They're like, Ozzy ate a bat. I want to see something else bigger die on stage.
I assume that they thought it was a fake bear.
Oh no, I know that. No, I'm sure that. But even like, is that cool? A fake bear? I guess.
Sure.
Oh, Grateful Dead had bears back then.
A dancing bear.
I guess he
No.
was sort of
Dancing bear
dancing, right?
explodes.
Wow. So that was, man, for an hour movie that's only 68 minutes.
And then it just ends.
Cut to
And then it
credits.
does just end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
68 minutes,
I-
and we
I-
talked
out loud, I
almost
said,
double the
"What
time.
fuck?"
I agree. I did the same thing. I'm like, all right. And then it really was a quick ending. It was like, all right, we're done. We have nothing else left. We used every song possible that these bands sing. We can't even throw a song at the end,
But I wonder if there was anything
I
after.
said,
Because
"What
it
the
was,
fuck?" I started laughing, and I decided I loved the end. I loved it.
Elaine sits down, and just that's it.
You know what? They should have done like a little, again, nature documentary, show other bears in the wild, with their families, and ended it like that.
And then Bouchard just
No,
opens his
the
eyes.
ending is perfect as is. Ending
right,
is
so
perfect as is. In fact, if the rest of the movie had leaned more into quirky 80s horror comedy, the ending would have worked even better.
I'm here. I'm all
That's
here
all I
for
got.
it. I'm
I
here
loved
for
it.
it. So that was great, man. Me and Jamie talked about it, man. 68-minute movie. I don't know what this is officially going to tally up to, but man, that movie was a blast to talk about. So I'll go with our 5-time guest. We figured out what the 5th movie is, so that stands. So would you tell people to watch this, Chris Egan?
Yeah, I would. I would preface it with a little bit of backstory and let them know it's kind of a mess before going in. But,
Perhaps an interview by a podcast, maybe?
Of course. I always share your guys' stuff. You know that.
Oh, I know you do. I'm just
I know. I wish it had more. I wish there was more, because I feel like it could have been pieced together to even become like a so bad it's good type movie, like The Room, or something that like people would throw on at parties, that sort of thing. And I guess it kind of fits into that. It's not quite there. It's not. There's too much concert stuff. There's too much filler where you can't even really enjoy it as like a fun 80s slasher or something, where you're bopping along with it. It's a little choppy.
I
But
could see
did
this
have
being
fun
Rocky.
watching it.
I could see this being Rocky Horror. Like, grab ass happens. Everybody in the theater starts grab ass, and they start singing "Impossible." Maybe.
If there was more to it, I think it would
More
work.
to the grab ass?
Something like that. I just don't think there's enough here. And that being said, I fully enjoyed watching it. I I laughed. I thought there was some good stuff to it. Absolutely. And I do applaud, Suzanne Nagy and everyone that was trying to get this out for doing something with it, not letting it just, sit, on a shelf somewhere. So there was a lot of hard work put into it. So I recommend it solely on that, just to check it out, see what you think.
Nice. All right, Jamie.
Yeah, I would say, before you watch this movie, do your research. Listen to. I don't normally plug our interviews, but listen to the Nagy interview, talking about the history of this movie. Look online and read about the history before you watch it, because it is a different kind of movie to watch, knowing the whole history and how they put everything together. And it's definitely interesting to see what the product they made after knowing everything. Because again, you don't normally see where they splice scenes here and there, scenes out of the blue. They added new scenes to old scenes, and this movie has all of that, and it's interesting to watch that way. So without a doubt, I would say do the research, but definitely watch the movie, but do the research first.
Of course, got to see this. Bouchard alone. I know it is cool. Everybody said the same thing. I interviewed Suzanne, so I'm not gonna sit here and say wow, just the story behind it is what I love so much, that she had such a deep connection, that 37 years.
Yeah.
She just kept fighting for it, 4 years afterwards, trying to get the rights from the guy that left. And then she had to buy the sequel rights because the guy lied and said he had it. And just so much that goes down to that. And I just love the idea of that movie with all of these people in it is something. So, yeah. So that was Grizzly 2 Revenge. And next week, we are back in the superhero genre for an equally good sequel to Captain America 2, Death Too Soon. Jamie, do you agree?
That it's equally as good as Death Too Soon?
No.
We definitely might have a different view, but I do like the sequel coming up. So this is
our first time being in the DC universe. And it's really, just no joking aside, one of my favorite sequels, one of my favorite franchises. Batman Returns. It's got Keaton, Pfeiffer, DeVito, Walken, and of course, next week, guest who had a small but really pivotal role that, Tim Burton just couldn't cast. And some guy that knew Gregory S. Cummings, who's an amazing actor, he said Greg will be able to nail this role. And he made him do the audition in the hallway when he walked past him. Said, do the line. And Greg's the one who steals the baby in the movie, and he has a quick line, goes on the podium. But man, such a great guy. He's on Bosch on Amazon Prime. He plays the role of Detective Moore, who's great. We already had on Barrel, Troy Evans, and just his career is one of those that's phenomenal. He was an amazing punter in college, the best punter at Hawaii football ever, and he was in some awesome movies about with the Boz. Great stories about Forsyth, which is so cool. Cliffhanger with Stallone, a movie called Dead End City with Robert Zadar. They go one-on-one. And he was cool because one of his roles that you don't know about is, because you don't think it looks like him, is when he plays Mac's dad on Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is man. And he just talked about the audition process. So it was a really cool interview. So don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.